you believe? Would you believe it?
What? Who? Take a message.
Find out about the world's largest
On the trail of the elusive
Kithyu.
Kithkai. It may not seem like it.
Recently, one of the longest specimens was unearthed.
Hi and welcome to the show. I'm Sam Halmay filling in for Stephen Jacobs. And stick around because we have heaps of fun coming up on the show today, including an interview with the hard-hitting rock band, the Lime Spiders. But first of all, a vegetable we all love to hate.
And now a weird story about a wild veggie.
Chocos. Bleh.
Weird indeed, and wild, yes. These green, wholesome veggies, chocos, have been growing wild on vines throughout the city. So wild, in fact, that many growers are becoming concerned for the safety of their houses. So tell us, Frank, how did it all start?
Oh, well, it all started, someone gave me some choco seeds. I already had an orange tree and a lemon tree, but I didn't have any choco trees, so I thought, well, why not? Why not take the seeds? Anyway, I planted the seeds around about here in the garden, and as you can see, they sprouted, and some went that way towards the fence there and over into the next door neighbour's backyard, and of course they hate me now. The rest, they went down this way, right along down the fence, and it was about here that a big vine sprung up and went right across there, across to the clothesline. I had to cut that out because I couldn't hang any of my clothes up.
Although Frank wasn't particularly impressed with his chocos, others, like newspaper journalist Kim Treasure, have been inspired by them. Kim writes a weekly column dedicated to her favourite veggie. Kim, how many choco stories have you covered?
Well, it's something relatively new to me, but I'd say we've probably covered about 6 or 8 in the past 2 weeks.
What about?
Well, it started as sort of a bit of a joke in short rounds. We started a Don't Choke on Your Choco competition to try and make chocos a bit more popular than spinach. And it sort of snowballed from there. We've just had call after call and letters, recipes.
And it continued further on down here. Over all my lovely ferns, I had some beautiful ferns there. Of course, you can't see them now. They're all covered in choco vines.
What are some of the more unusual recipes you've received?
Well, we've had everything from choco chips to choco desserts. Probably the thing I like best is one that you don't even have to eat, the little blighters. And one woman suggested we actually make monsters and witches and things out of them for kids, which sounds great to me.
I had a lovely garden here with flowers growing and parsley and a few other things like that, which are really handy things to have, which aren't there now, of course, because of the chocos. They went right over this big tree here, down again and over.
What is it that you like about chocos? The taste, the smell, the shape?
Well, I can tell you what I hate about chocos.
What's that?
Well, I hate peeling chocos. I hate the gudge that's left on your hands when you peel chocos. What do I like about chocos? They fill up a bit of room on the plate. It's about the most I can say for them.
Over here, I had a few other plants here, which you can't see because of the chocos. And then it went right over this really big tree here. I thought it would never get over that, but it did. And then down again. I just don't know when it's going to stop.
She was a monster, a little monster. She was a monster.
Hundreds, if not thousands, of chocos sprouted on Frank's vine within a period of just under 3 months. Frank had so many of these green veggies, in fact, that he had to work out a quick and efficient method of distribution.
It's a simple case of supply outweighing demand. As you can see from this graph, which I fixed up earlier for you, this column here represents the amount of chocos in my backyard, and this column here represents the amount of people who ask for my chocos or just like chocos in general. And as you can see, there's a big difference. Ideally, it should be supply equals demand. But of course that's not the case in this instance. It's just not economically viable for me to have so many chocos.
So what did you do with them all?
Oh, I chucked them out.
Frank, how do you account for the amazing growth rate of your chocos?
Yeah, they did seem to propagate a little bit, yeah. I don't know, I think a lot of it's got to do with the fact that like every night after work, I come home, I sit on the veranda and I listen to my favourite album of Sabrina's. And I don't know, they just seem to have grown larger, larger and larger. That and also the fact that we've had a lot of rain.
That was Stephen Jacobs reporting for Kids News.
What do you think the future holds for the humble choco?
Well, judging by the response to our competition, I'd say it's quite a bright future. I'd say it's probably the most versatile vegetable you could get on your plate. The only problem is a lot of people don't like it.
While our crew were out filing that report, they bumped into a lovely lady who is such a big choco fan that she was moved to write a poem about the versatile vegetable. Here's a recital from her.
I've pickled them and roasted them and cooked them in a stew, added them to rhubarb and apple pudding too. I've creamed them and steamed them. I've chipped them and slipped them to my family unawares. I've diced them and sliced them into soup and pumpkin pie, whipped them and slipped them into fish cakes on the sly. I've sauced them and forced them into a choco dip. I've curried them and worried them to make a jellied whip. I've preserved them and served them as jam in a bowl. I've put them in peas pudding and toad in a hole. Tonight, we'll have steamed pudding. Now here's my favourite trick. My own choco version of Old English spotted dick.